This is Joycey.
And Blake.
And welcome to Savagely Scaled.
So in this episode, we actually sat down with Evan Slaughter, who is the influencer that goes by Fit2Serve.
If you don't know him already, you should, because he's so funny.
Oh, he's hilarious. And his journey just has been, from somebody who first started watching him, I thought it was just like this bigger guy who was losing weight, but then you come to find out that he actually was in the army. He was very fit, and then life just happened, and now he's getting back into it.
Right.
And all what he plans for this year, the brands that he works with, how he even embarks on doing things with brands, or what it's been like with them approaching him and what he's doing and his view. Because we did have Roderick, we had Athena, and I feel like each one of them are doing completely different things, and they approach things differently.
Right.
So it is nice to see that, because I'm like, oh man, if it's like the same thing over and over, what are we doing wrong?
Right.
But I feel like with each one influencer or person that we've talked to, it's a completely different journey, and they embrace or they embark on brands and situations completely differently.
Right. Or goals or particular, I would even say communities within CrossFit that they're each targeting. And I think it's just, again, it just speaks to just the wide variety and diversity we have in the CrossFit community. And it's just been so much fun getting to know him, to pretty much follow his content. And also we love the ability to be able to support other people who are also in the community. So we appreciate Evan for being with us and taking a chance on us too, because I know all of the people who are on the podcast are, well, we consider them very big people in CrossFit. At least I would. So I think it's always an amazing opportunity to have them on here to share how they came to be where they're at, and also just share with you a little bit about what makes them them and makes them much more approachable and personable. So we're excited. Let's
get into it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Awesome. So just to get started, for those podcasters who don't really know a lot about Evan, can you give us just a little bit of facts about you? Maybe talk to us about like where you're from. If you want to share a little bit about your family. I know I follow you, so I know you have, some family that you recently visited for Thanksgiving, things like that. You could also speak to, your age, and also, pets, any random facts that you'd like to share.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm from Alabama, originally born in Montgomery, but quickly moved to Birmingham after I was born. My dad was actually working on a farm as like a cattle farmer whenever we were born. So like my family on my dad's side, his sister's married to a guy, my Uncle Kerry, who owns all this land in Montgomery. So they've been doing farming stuff for a long, long time. So my mom, fun fact, I guess, my mom hates this, but I say it every time I'm on a podcast, because I'm always telling my story. I'm always like, where are you from? Where were you born? And I say this every time, but she was on birth control when she had me and my brother. So it was like,
What brand? Do they make that anymore?
Right. Birth control in the 80s must not be what it is, today, because it did not work for her. I always say that, not only was, she not planning to get pregnant, she was actually trying to prevent it. So here come me and my brother. So, my brother's like 18 months older than me. And, so she has like 2 kids, and then we have to move to Birmingham because my dad's like, I got to go back to school and get a job, and
Wow.
So moved there, and then tried college for a little while in Nashville, and this school was not for me. I couldn't stand it. I didn't like going to classes. The times I did go to class, I guess I did just enough to get by in high school, with like a C average. So I didn't study or I was not proactive in making good grades in high school, and kind of carried that over to college. When it got to college and I was out on my own, I was like, all right, I have no one, making me go to school anymore. I have no one, So it's like time to do whatever Evan wants to do. And so school was just not for me, so I kind of tried a little bit in Nashville at Lipscomb University for a couple years, and then wasn't working out. And I moved back home to Birmingham and go to college there for a little bit. But I actually got into personal training while I was going through that. So that's what I wanted to do. I was studying exercise science. I wanted to be in, something in the fitness world. And a friend of mine opened a gym in Hoover while I'm at school and was like, hey, you want to like personal train here and work, so I got certified. I was kind of managing the gym, tried that for a little while, and then got bored with that and joined the Army. And so joined the Army and then got out of the Army, moved back home and did a couple different things and started doing the content stuff. I didn't want to go into too much detail right off the bat in case you want detail on some of those stories.
And I'm like, there's so much there.
There's a lot there, yeah. So feel free to ask whatever you want about it. But yeah, that's just kind of the general summary, I guess.
First off, thank you for your service. I think that's definitely some acknowledgement. But it sounds like you're a man of many trades. And it also sounds like someone who just has lots of interests, but also tries to dive into all of those interests.
Yeah.
Which I think is obviously very telling of a person who just loves to interact and loves to kind of be in that environment. But it sounds like you've been exercise was kind of a part of your lifestyle kind of early on, or would you say that kind of transgressed and grew?
Yeah, no, it definitely was. And so a lot of people don't really know that too, because I just really started putting content out when I had gained a bunch of weight and was getting sober off opiates. That was kind of like the same time I start the content thing. So a lot of people just see someone who is drastically out of shape, start getting in shape. But I have been into fitness and have loved fitness for the majority of my life. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. That's why I was going to school, exercise science. I'd wanted to be a personal trainer. I wanted to do something in the fitness realm. But for me, it was really just like weightlifting. I was like old school weightlifter type, like where you have chest day on Mondays, back and buys on Tuesday, legs on Wednesday, shoulders on Thursday. That was my routine. So yeah, it was more of just in the weightlifting world, I guess.
That's really cool. Cause like before I did CrossFit, that's what I did. Like we had those days, and it was like also with like the mirrors with the barbells and the weightlifting and then the machines and everything. And I was like, no, I have my set days. And I remember my mom, no, try this class. I was like, no, I have my set days for a reason.
That's right.
I'm gonna like it because it's just I don't know what's going on in that room, but I want to do this out here because I know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people like with me, like with fitness, like my body's built differently. So they're like, oh, well, we didn't know that you could like do handstand walks or things like that because you were overweight. And I was like, I've always done fitness. My body's just built differently. Like, just because like I went through a slump of gaining weight doesn't mean that I can't run. Like,
right. Yeah, that's right. Or that I'm not athletic, or that, a lot of people just, you judge a book by its cover, right? Like you just see what you see with your eyes, and then you know nothing about the person, you know nothing about their background. So I think that was a big one for me when I started getting in shape. The people that don't know that, well, I've actually been in shape most of my life. I just have been out of shape for this year and a half.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, right now this is his journey. And it's like, no, that was just like the middle part. I've been also like the beginning. But
that's right.
Not a lot of people are always in the beginning and the end. They're always there for the middle and the happy parts. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Be careful for this too, because I worked my ass off.
Right.
It took several years. So what, you were into that weightlifting. What drew you to like maybe CrossFit or that type of workouts?
So that's a good question. I had known about CrossFit. CrossFit kind of started becoming popular while I was in the Army. At least for me, that was 2010, 2011. So it was really kind of making its way into the military around that time, in my experience. And I was going through Special Forces selection, trying to make it into the Special Forces. I was in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, having to go through what they call SOPSI first. And SOPSI is Special Operations Preparation and Conditioning. So you have to pass that. And then go into selection, and they were kind of doing CrossFit there. The cadre were a little bit, the instructors, it was CrossFit style workouts. So I remember that they were using it then, and I'd kind of first gotten into it a little bit that way. But then whenever I got out of shape and I was trying to get back in shape, my brother at the time started getting into CrossFit. Not brother at the time. At the time, my brother was, he's still my brother.
Your brother right then.
He's still my brother. It wasn't like a stepbrother situation, and now they're not. He is still my brother. He started kind of dabbling around with CrossFit. He's in Hendersonville. There's a great gym there called CrossFit Hendersonville, just north of Nashville. And he's telling me about it, and he's like, you ought to try it. And so anyways, I kind of started dabbling in it again then, very slowly. But at the same time, I was making content around it. Like I was, making comedy videos around things that I was doing in my life, pickleball, trying to get back in shape, all these things. And one of those was kind of CrossFit. So when I start making content around it and the content starts doing really, really well, it was it just pushed me deeper into the world of CrossFit.
Nice.
That's really cool. I think I love the content because like you said, you kind of make it funny and you're not very serious about it, which is like great because I feel like that's a big part of the CrossFit culture. Like it's not just showing up and doing a workout, but it's also kind of like all the joking around you do outside of the workout. Yeah. So I really do love and appreciate how you approach that side of CrossFit. So tell us more about that, like your Instagram page, what it's about, and also what the content means to you.
Yeah. So, I've always loved comedy. It's always been a big part of my life. And just for me, it's like laughter, I think, is the best medicine, and it's brought me a lot of, healing in times when I needed healing. And so, but it's just kind of something that naturally it's just always felt right for me, making people laugh. It's always been something I've used to either make friends or try to fit in or do, whatever. Or if I was hurt, I'd use, humor to make fun of someone. It's like it can be used for a lot of different things. But I've just always been kind of the funny person. And so I just take that look into my life. I look through a comedic lens, I think, in everything almost. It's like everything gets filtered through this lens where it's like I try to find the humor in it. So for me, it was like, getting back in shape was a big time where, like I said, I haven't, most of my life I've been in shape. So being that out of shape was very foreign to me. It was very foreign to me. I was, I wasn't used to it by any means. But it allowed me to kind of experience like, man, how tough it is whenever you are 100 pounds overweight, how tough it is to get back in shape, how tough it is to even just get off the couch and want to be active and you have no motivation, you have no energy. But I wanted to kind of share about that in like a funny way. And so I just started making comedy videos around things that I was doing at the time. Pickleball was a big one, and then trying to get back in shape. So that kind of started the whole, your friend that's just started working out 2 weeks ago, or your friend that just tried CrossFit for the first time, or your friend, because I was really trying those things, and like, that's really what I was doing. And so I just wanted to find the humor in it, I guess. And for me, it's like the CrossFit thing. I didn't know how kind of big it was whenever I started doing the videos, and it just got a bunch of response, videos start going viral, and then you get reached out to by all these different brands wanting to make, market some stuff for them and do this and that. And so it just kind of pushed me further and further. But yeah, I always kind of try to lead with a comedic view on things. But at the same time, those videos were like helping people. So, and that's what I didn't understand. I didn't expect or understand that to be the case in a lot of scenarios. So it's like where I would like, overweight dude, I'd take my shirt off, I'd go out there, I'd make some funny video, and people were messaging me about, like, oh, I know this is comedy, but this video really helped me to gain the confidence to get back up and go to the gym, or this video is really helping me to not be so concerned with what other people think about me, or this. And man, it was like just tons and tons of these messages from people that were inspired by it. So that put a whole new twist on it for me, because it I started kind of taking things more serious in the sense that, like, okay, there's something to this, there's like a message that can be shared through this. And what is that message, and how do I relay it to people? And it's like, well, just keep doing what you're doing, keep making funny videos and being honest and real and not fearful of what others think of you, and just let that be the message.
I think like with seeing your content, that has like helped me. And I've been doing CrossFit since 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
But, like, I had 2 kids, and like just like recently, like this past, like coming to your page and seeing your content and me just being like, why do I care? Like, I've been doing this for how long? I'm 35. Like, I should love that I can get up every day and go do something. And I was like, and this content actually like really, really helps. Like, even though like we're sitting there laughing, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And even like new people at the gym, I'm like, hey, here's a couple of like Instagram people to follow, like Meme for Time and Fit2Serve. I'm like, those 2 guys, like, if you think like you don't know anything, just go watch this video. And they just put it in a funny way of like, this is just, don't worry about it. Like, go have fun, go lift, go work out. Just don't like, cause we get so many, like, cause I'm also a coach at our gym, so many people who get down about themselves about like, I don't know what a clean is. And I was like, do you realize the first 5 months I had to look it up and be like, oh, that's a clean. Like, do not take it serious. Like, don't worry. You're not failing.
Yeah.
I think people just get really easily intimidated too. And being able to see content where it's like, oh, there's an environment of people who are actually very encouraging and are there to support you. And it's not this intimidating going to the gym, everyone's bulked up, lifting crazy weights. Like, people scale, and there's a wide range of people out there, and you're welcome to it. And I think, again, being able to see that in the content that you create is super encouraging. I know you mentioned you started creating content, and correct me if I'm wrong, like around 2 years ago, a little over 2 years. And before then, you mentioned you didn't create content, but you were active like in exercise. So can you talk a little bit about how that evolved? Kind of like the timeline before creating content, once you got to creating content, and kind of where you want that to go?
Yeah. The content came because I love comedy. I love making people laugh, and I really started it, and still kind of have to remember to keep focused like this. But I always wanted to lead with laughter, making people laugh. That was the goal, right? Make something funny. It's turned into something that I do full time now for 2.5 years, and it's a business, and I do, but even with the marketing stuff, I try to make a video that's comedic and organically incorporate the product into that video, right? So it was just very much something that I just always wanted to lead with comedy, and then just kind of let the rest sort of come from that. What it's helped me to do, though, in a sense, is like, it's really helped me with being held accountable. And I was thinking about that the other day, because it's like, man, whenever you put yourself out there like that, and you lose all this weight online, and you have all these people following that journey and watching and commenting on how well you're doing and all this kind of stuff, it puts a little bit of pressure on there, because it's like, well, what if I start gaining weight again? What if I drop all this and have a bad several months, and I start gaining all this weight? People see that too, people. So it was very, it really showed me kind of like what it's like to just put yourself out there and not, really try to not care. We were talking about, why we care about what people think of us, and I had a mentor tell me one time, he was like, Evan, that when you're in traffic, and you're driving down highway or whatever, and you're, it's bumper to bumper traffic down the highway, red light, whatever, you're moving forward, you're kind of inching along, you see someone next to you. Do you think that they're sitting there thinking like, man, what is, thinking about you, thinking about judging what you're wearing, judging what you're driving, judging what you're, it's like, no, that person doesn't care at all what, they have no clue who you are, like take that mindset into everything else that you do, like, why do I care why does it matter to me what anyone else thinks of me? Other than what I think of myself. Like if I'm happy and I'm truly enjoying life and I'm not, I'm putting good out there into the world, then nothing else matters. And I learned that through the process of making these videos. I really did. Because whenever I was 100 pounds heavier, I always tell people it's like, hey, when I was 100 pounds heavier, I was the happiest and still, great mental health today. But my mental health was the best it's ever been. I was the happiest mentally I've ever been. I was enjoying life like I've never enjoyed life before. And that's what led to me wanting to lose weight. I let that lead to the weight loss, because before it was all about like, I want to work out so that I look this way.
Yeah.
Now it's become, I want to work out so that I can experience life better. I want to be able to do things. I was flying a lot. I still fly and travel a ton. Have you ever flown and traveled when you're 100 pounds overweight? It's a pain in the ass. Like, like things are more difficult. Sitting in an airplane is more difficult. So, doing all these things are more difficult. Like I want to have a better experience in my physical world. So I'm going to start losing weight. And it was because I was enjoying life and had all this stuff, happening, improving my mental health, all these good things happening, that me getting in shape needed to go along with that so I could do a better job of it, So yeah, it was like the content for me, it was just a me living life and me, trying to find a funny way to look at life. And then it's led into all this other stuff. Like when you see the motivation that you're providing for other people and you see all these things, or they're holding you accountable basically by, you continuing to post that you're losing weight, all these different things. It's just kind of, I take it one day at a time and I just try to be open and honest and authentic with it. And then always lead with laughter and comedy. And then that's what produces the content for me.
That's perfect. Where do you see it going? Like, what is what people say in game, or what you want it to be? Is it still this, or is it doing, I don't know if there's anything more that Evan wants with it.
Doing a Fit to Serve movie, or
yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because it's provided me so many opportunities that you just wouldn't think would, I guess this is kind of like, I always didn't understand at first how people made money online. I didn't understand when I started that it was a real thing. You hear of influencer, you hear of people making, money posting stuff online, but until it actually happens, at least I didn't know how it was real, but then, because it's not from views you get, that's not where the money's at. That barely pays anything. It's from the marketing side of it. And that's what kind of like when I started learning more about, this is what it is to be an influencer. This is what marketing is. This is a real thing. This is and kind of leaning into that. But there's also one of those things I looked at. It's like, man, I can't do this forever. I don't, I just don't see how this would be something that you do forever. But the opportunities that have come from just putting stuff online and putting, having videos go viral and do all this stuff and doing what I do on social media, that is where I'm just taking these opportunities as they come and seeing where it will go. So like, for example, I've had opportunities to act in different things, opportunities to do, I just did something with the tennis channel this last weekend. So at the pickleball tournaments, they've got a new TV channel called Pickleball TV.
What?
And yeah, it's awesome. And so the tennis channel hired me because they're shooting this show that we shot the pilot episode for called the Pickle Program. And it's going to be basically like a comedy sports center vibe based off of pickleball tournaments. So we just shot the pilot at the pickleball finals in San Clemente it was Friday is whenever I shot my little segment, but all day we went around the pickleball tournament and we shot this pilot episode for the tennis channel. So it's like stuff like that, it's like you get into, go from doing influencer stuff to now you got an opportunity doing stuff on TV. Now you got, where can it take you? Where can it go? And it's like, I'm just on this journey, like, not knowing exactly what the next move's going to be, which can be a little nerve wracking sometimes, but opportunities keep coming. I am starting a podcast of my own where it's really going to be just a comedy, conversational podcast, be shot here at my apartment in Nashville. So that's going to be fun. I think that'll be a cool thing. It's been something I've been waiting to do for a while because I wanted to kind of do it right, and I didn't know what it was going to look like at first. I didn't know what I was going to do. But I finally just said, screw it. I'm just going to start doing. So, I'm just going to start because I love having conversations with people and trying to, be funny about it and find, and live an interesting life, So it's like, let's talk about that too. Let's share some of these experiences that you're having with the audience. And that can lead into conversations about weight loss. That can lead into conversations about mental health and sobriety from opiates and all, let that kind of lead into those conversations. But yeah, so that's definitely next. I will tell y'all, this is another opportunity, which I haven't talked about much. I'm going to get y'all's take on it and see how you feel about it. Okay. Have you heard of hobby horsing before?
Yeah.
You know what hobby horsing is? So I've done some comedy videos around hobby horsing.
Yeah.
Right? Making fun of hobby horsing. Right. And it's crazy how well they've done. Like
I know.
Gone viral.
Almost
every time I post one, it'll almost go viral. And it's because I'm learning more about this hobby horse sport, but it is their national sport, like in Finland. It started in Finland. It's very Dutch, Norway, like it's very that kind of regional sport, but they consider it their national sport, right? So they take it very, very seriously. And it's just, them doing dressage and high jumps on a stick horse. If you don't know what hobby horsing is, that's basically what it is. You're on a stick horse.
Yeah, y'all need to look it up.
Dressage, there's high jumps, there's, it's insane. They have a kids league and an adult league, I found out, right? So there is actually an adult league, and I think the adult league is like anyone over 15 or something. So it's very competitive at the kids level, but I think the adults level is pretty, I guess, competitive too. So I get approached by the producers or actually the director of Deadliest Catch, the show Deadliest Catch.
Yes.
So they do all the crab fishing stuff, and I think they're on their 22nd season right now. So like 22 years of Deadliest Catch, right? Or however they do it. They might do 2 seasons a year. I don't know
what they do, because they also have like
12 years long
fishing and stuff too.
Yeah.
Seasons of that. But yeah, I've watched that since the beginning too.
So the creators of that, director of it, contacts me, right? And we set up a call. We talked to him about his next project, which he wants to do a documentary on hobby horsing, right? Ooh. So he wants to do this whole documentary about hobby horsing, what it is. He's going to interview all these people that are in it, like in the hobby horsing community that have been doing it their whole lives, like some of the top athletes. But he wants me to be in the documentary, and he wants me to go over to Finland and compete in the 2025 Finnish hobby horsing championships.
Oh, I was just going to ask, so are you doing the competition?
So yeah. So they want to like follow me training for it, do all this stuff. And then he wants me to go over there and actually try to compete.
I love this for you. Yes. So, you have to do it.
I said yes. I said I would do it.
Yeah.
And right now, I think, so they make like a pitch for it, basically. This is how this works, because I'm learning about how all this stuff works. They make, like a video to take around to different production companies and try to get it picked up, basically. So they make this big video, and they've got, me in the video. We did this interview thing, and then they used a bunch of footage from some of my stuff and just kind of telling my story a little bit. But they have taken it to, they said Netflix is looking at it as a sports documentary. So got that message probably 2 weeks ago is when he said that. It's very, slow moving until it starts picking up faster again. So hopefully they'll pick it up as a sports doc. And if it does, then I'll be going to Finland in 2025 to compete in the hobby horsing championship.
That is freaking
cool. I saw that a couple of years ago. I was like, this is not real. Is this real life? And then
it's real.
Oh my gosh. And
it's real.
I started thinking like, I wonder how much those horses cost. I wonder where they get them made. I wonder all these things. And I was like, you are wondering way too much because you're
I know, but it's interesting, right? Like, it's like you see it and you're like, man. And to answer your question, I actually looked at something came up about the price the other day. I think they said 300 to 700 euros. So that would be what, like $400 to $800, five to $800 or something like that, $500 or $900.
Yeah, because I'm thinking it's an investment like anything, but then I was like, okay, aerodynamics, like, does it have to be like lighter? Is the head of the
a lot of box jumps, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. No, it'll be cool. But so they take it extremely seriously, and what's funny is there's this one page that's like the main, I guess, the biggest social media page for them. Mm-hmm. I forgot what it's called, Hobby Horsing Academy or something like that. I'll have to look it up. But they take a lot of the clips from my videos and they'll play it. I think they've done it twice now, 2 or 3 times they've done videos like this where they use a clip of my video in the beginning where I'm making fun of it, mm-hmm. and it's like a comedy thing. I'm like making fun of it. And then they turn it into a serious video. So they'll like, they may make fun of us and it's like me making fun of them. And then it's like, but hobby horsing is a real sport. And it makes the video, honestly, it makes them look worse and worse. Like you read the comments and you're like, oh no, like people are trashing them in the comments. And one of the things about the documentary thing that would be cool is, which I like, because what I don't want to do is bully anyone. I'm not trying to make fun of kids. That was the other. It's like I would be competing in the adult only, and anyone on the documentary would be in the adult category only. They're not doing anything with kids, which I was like, good, because I'm not going to do it if it's
Yeah.
And the other thing is that, that's their take too. They don't want this to be me making fun of Finland, for hobby horsing. Their hopes are that it'll go from like, oh, there's the guy who's been poking fun at us, but he's out here, he's putting his money where his mouth is. He's going to try it. I'm not out here to make fun of it. I'm going to give it a real go at it. I'm going to humiliate myself in the process because, I'm not going to be able to do those high jumps and all those stuff that they're doing with this daggum stick horse. Like, it's going to be ridiculous looking, I'm going to look ridiculous at it. So it's like, I'm putting myself out there too, for the sake of hobby horsing. So, that's the goal. It's like, just make something fun, lighthearted. We're at the end. We're all buddies,
Right. Hey, you don't know, you might place. You never know. It might happen.
Best in show.
I would be very, very surprised.
But I love that for you. I think that's an amazing, I'm really happy that you're getting all these opportunities, I think that's amazing. And I think it's going to be a good one. So I'm all for it. I think you should hop on that and do it. But I think it also, like you said, it speaks to just like the lightheartedness of like, hey, we're having fun, but also like, let's look into this. Like, let's actually look at the sport and see what they're all about. And I feel like that's something that you and Roderick do really well in your content. Like, I know he has the whole wheel wad thing and he's kind of promoting that with his content.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And then you also have people, affiliations, businesses you support. I know that you have the Mustache Bros, Ice Barrel, Sweat Tent, things like that. So tell us more about all these other affiliations or these other groups that you work with. How can our listeners support you and those businesses, things like that?
Yeah. So, when it comes to working with brands, one thing I try to do the best, of is that I only work with people that it makes sense for me to work with. So I'm just not out there just representing any company that I know nothing about. I really stick to stuff. And the way I've kind of done that is by working with people that approach me. So I kind of just let, someone wants me to do some videos with them and they reach out, take a look at the product, see what it is, see what, category they're in, see if it makes sense for me to do it, and then kind of move forward from there. I like to have creative control. I like to have all those things.
Yeah.
It's very important for me to still be able to make something organic and authentic and real. And partnering with the right brands really make that, feasible for me. So yeah, I mean, from Dollar Shave Club to RX SmartGear to Ice Barrel to Chubby's Clothing. If you go to my Instagram page in my bio, there's a couple links. I have a website now, but you can find all this information there on the website. But I still have my little link tree thing up, which is just discount codes. So yeah, you can go there and check out all the brands that I work with, and most, all of them will be something that I use it, I do it, whatever it is, the product I've incorporated into my life for weight loss, whatever. So yeah, that's probably the best way to do it, is check out my bio.
Nice. What is your favorite brand? What was your favorite brand to work with?
I love them all so much. I really do. Chubby's Clothing is one that I've been with for a long time, since the beginning. They are awesome. And just not only as a clothing company, but as a business, the way that they run their business. I've gotten to meet, one of the founders who's still involved with it today, Rainer Castillo. The very first time they ever had me out for a photo shoot, I was 100 pounds heavier. I was in the worst shape of my life. I was, but Chubby's wanted to work with me and wanted me to do these photo shoots for them and wanted me to do all this stuff. And it's continued that way even through today. We're looking at 2025 and re-signing a new contract for 2025. So hopefully going into 2025. But the point is that they've been, when you think of clothing and fashion and stuff like that, you typically only think of all these gorgeous people that are in really good shape and do all this stuff. And, it's anything when you search fitness on Instagram, what are you going to see? You're going to see a bunch of ripped, good looking people. That's why fitness has been so intimidating for people that are out of shape. It's look at what you see on here. You immediately go there and you're like, well, I'm not going to have that. I can't have that, so it's intimidating. That's why I tried to make my fitness stuff different. I remember the first time someone called me a fitness influencer, I was like, what? I'm not a fitness, but then in a way it's yeah, you are. You're just, you're turning it on its head. You're doing something a lot different. And it's refreshing for people. So I try to, keep that in mind. But yeah, Chubby's Clothing has always, they just provide the coolest opportunities. They put me in front of the, whenever I make a video with Travis Kelce and George Kittle and all these football players and stuff like that, it's because I was doing something with Chubby's Clothing. It's, they have some of literally the coolest opportunities that they've given me, all these different things. And it's all, around a clothing brand, but it's so much more than that. So we're planning some cool stuff for 2025 that I hope happens. To find out this week about that. But, I'm excited about what they have planned for 2025, because they're really taking this whole, the way that they market and the way that they think about things is just so next level. It's because it's a clothing brand, but the way that they advertise it and the way that they choose to do it, working with people like me and just going around the country, shooting all this crazy content stuff and not even ever really talking about the clothes, just wearing the clothes. It's such a cool way to market products.
It is. A lot of people don't realize, even when I talk to people and I was like, there's leggings that I wear, but because my thighs rub, they rip right away. or things that like they say the sizing is this and it's not. And it's like, it sucks to look at a website and be like, I can see your model, but that doesn't work for me, or like my height. And to find brands that actually work for, and I don't want to say the true fitness, like real world bodies, but it's like real world bodies that are still working out need clothes, and it doesn't need to be sweatpants and a baggy sweatshirt. So it's nice that you have that. And it, like you said, it is refreshing to see what you're doing. Even if it's funny or whatnot, it is so refreshing and it's so welcoming for newcomers. And like, that's what we've heard. And like, when I tell them like to look you up or anything, it's like, this is actually really cool. And I like that this is what like the day and age is doing. And it's not even like, oh, well, he's like an 18-year-old or something. I'm like, this is like real people. And
that's right. Yeah, I wanted to start a clothing company one time called Short and Fat, and it was just going to be for short, fat people. Because they don't get enough love. There's like, big and tall. There's there's all this big and tall. There needs to be a short and fat. And I need to come up with a better name for it. But I think there's a market for that.
It really is, because Joycey and I are both. I'm 5'1". We have really big legs, and it's just like, can I get some clothing that fits me like proportionally? Yeah. Because they're always like, why is there baggy stuff around your ankles? And I'm like, because this is made for what, a 5'5" person. That's an average person. I'm not. 5'5".
Yeah, that's right. It is definitely the biggest genre or whatever of people of sizes that is overlooked. There's big and tall, there's all this average stuff, but the short thick community is overlooked.
Right.
So that's a good one, short and thick.
Right. There you go. Yeah.
Short and thick.
I like that. Yeah, but I think that's kind of telling too, kind of going off of the theme of that, is like kind of a lot of athletes, or especially, as you know, our podcast is kind of geared towards beginner CrossFitters or people just joining the sport and wanting to learn about it. But I think you're right. I think kind of the body image aspect of it does keep a lot of athletes from feeling very discouraged about whether it's taking your shirt off or, whether it's like showing up to the gym wearing a certain getup. Like, I feel like that's a big part of joining CrossFit, is how do you keep athletes from being discouraged in an environment that could be a little intimidating, like we talked about, but also in a society that maybe isn't very supportive of short and stout people, right? Yeah. And I think that's a big theme that, like you said, we see it in a comedic angle as well. And there's various like ways that we approach it. And I think that your content does that very well. But kind of speaking off of that, how do you feel like for someone who's just beginning their CrossFit journey, how would you advise them to stay from like being discouraged into jumping into that?
Ooh, man. Yeah, that's a good one, because I can remember, whenever I was just getting started in CrossFit, and I was so badly out of shape. I mean, just getting down on the floor and getting back up was a challenge. I mean, doing the warm up was a challenge. And it's tough, especially when you come from, a time in life like that was kind of new to me. I hadn't always been out of shape. Normally I'm, right there at the top of the class, right? One of the more fit people in the group. When I was in the military, I was the third highest PT score in our company, so I've been at times very, very good in shape. And then to go and like to experience that, it's like something I'm super grateful for now, because it gave me kind of a firsthand, look on what it's like for people that are 100 pounds overweight, that are drastically out of shape, and how difficult it is to get back in shape. For me, it was like just little rewards that I could find for myself. Like, I remember just showing up and going to the class was a win. If I didn't perform great, I didn't put out a ton of effort, I didn't do near what the whole workout was, whatever, I wouldn't beat myself up over that. I would just give myself credit for showing up and being there. And I kind of let that build on that. Anytime I would just push it a little bit further, push it a little bit further, push it a little bit further. And for me, one of the things that really, really helped too was I work with a company called Blokes, and it's like they have a men's side and a women's side to it. There's Blokes, which is the men's side. There's Joy Women's Wellness, which is the female side, and Joy is spelled JOI. So it's Blokes and Joy, and they're growing like rapidly every day. I mean, they're an awesome company to work with. And they've really kind of helped. I mean, they've helped me drastically. So it's men's and women's comprehensive health. You get your blood work done. They test all these different biomarkers. I think, I forgot how many biomarkers they test, but it's all of them, all the ones you can think of that you need to know about. And they look at your blood work and they go, all right, what can we change here? What are your goals? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to build muscle? Are you trying to, what's your goals here? And how can we facilitate that? It's kind of how it goes. And you're doing this all online on Zoom with one of their, people that does the consults with you, that goes over the labs with you and looks at all of it, right? And so for me, the first time I did that, I remember I was so hesitant because I was so nervous about what they were going to find. Like I thought they were going to be like, you need to go to the emergency room now. You're dying. Like I'm surprised you're not already dead. Like go to the emergency room. That's how fearful I was. Like, because I knew I was bad out of shape, and I just was type that would rather look the other way and ignore it and pretend that I don't, know what's going on over here, and if you live that way, right, then nothing bad's happening. But finally I had to get to where I could face it, because I just was having a hard time kicking off the weight loss. I mean, I feel like I would put in a little bit of work and just nothing would change, even though I could have worked probably a little harder. Maybe, maybe my diet wasn't in line, but it was just really, really slow results, if any, at the time. And I was like I said, 100 pounds overweight. I was type 2 diabetic with my A1C. I was all the things bad that you could have going wrong. I had going wrong with my body. I mean, my testosterone was super, super low. It was a 141. And they say that optimized for your testosterone is between 800 and 900. So I was like turning into a woman, basically. I mean, my testosterone on the floor,
It's like -3.
Yeah, I mean, it was so bad. And so they do the same thing for females. They look at the same things for females and see what's going on for females. But for me, it's like, all right, I know I need to lose weight. I need to get my A1C under control. It's bad type 2 diabetic range right now. Cholesterol's high. All these things are really high. And so that's when I tried the semaglutide, which is Ozempic, basically. It's 1 injection a week, GLP-1, 1 injection a week in your stomach. And then I got on testosterone replacement therapies, which they have a lot of different things that you can do for that. From creams to gels to a pill you take once a day to injections to all these different things. But my testosterone was low and I need to lose weight. So I start the semaglutide, and it was done like they do it right. Ozempic can get a bad name for some people. But for me, it's like helps save my life. Like I'll tell anybody about it. I'll tell anybody about my experience. I think it gets a bad name sometimes when you see celebrities that say they're on it and they're already like super thin and they don't need to be on it. Right. You know what I mean? Like that's where I think it kind of gets a bad rap. But if you're type 2 diabetic, if you're, it's also very effective for type 2 diabetic people. It's, not just weight loss. So it's very, very effective. But they start you off real slow and then kind of build you up to it. And then when you decide to come off it one day, you reach that target weight, you want to come off it. It's the same way. It's like really slow getting off of it. So it took a little while, but by 11 months, I'd lost 95 pounds. Wow. I'd gotten my testosterone work done and got that in the right spot. And all these things facilitated me working harder in the gym. Like that was the main thing, is like, none of this stuff comes without putting in the work, right? Mm-hmm. Like you can get on Ozempic, you can get on testosterone, you can get on whatever you need to get on, but none of that's going to work or be effective if you're not doing the work in the gym. Yeah. So for me, it only made me turn it up more, and it's like taught me how to start taking, responsibility for my diet and doing a better job of that. Because with Ozempic, sometimes if you eat too much sugary stuff, or that was my thing too, I can overeat because I'll eat real fast. Mm-hmm. So I'll just eat a bunch of food and not know that I'm full, right? Ozempic, you get full. It gives you that satiated feeling like you're full, much quicker. So it's harder to overeat. So it's teaching me how to eat. And also you can get a little bit nauseous if you eat too much sugary stuff. So it was like helping me make better decisions, but all that stuff came from working harder in the gym. That was the main thing I had to do.
Yeah. It sounds like you did the research, you implemented it, and you did it as best as you could. And it seems like it's getting you a lot of results, which is great. And
oh yeah.
And like you said, being able to like allow other people to learn about that, provide the education. Because like you said, for me, for example, I don't know a lot about any of these like options for people.
Yeah.
Luckily, I've been in a good place with my health. But yeah, I mean, diet's the big thing for me. I always struggle with that 100%. Like my diet's never been on point. But I'm like, but I'll run an extra 3 miles so long as I get my cheeseburger, But
yeah.
It's a journey. It's always like something that takes time. And I think that's a big thing that discourages a lot of people, that it's not instant results from just going to the gym in a few months. It's a patience game for sure.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody wants that quick fix. Everybody wants the 7-minute abs or the, whatever. Like everybody wants this quick, fast solution. And it's just not the case. Right.
Right.
Even with stuff like that, even with treatments like that, like there's not some miracle solution that you just, all I have to do is inject this and I'm tan and ripped and fit now, nah, it doesn't work that way. I had a lady come up to me at a pickleball tournament, maybe a month ago, and she was like, hey, I just want to tell you thank you for being open about your stuff with Ozempic and everything. She's like, that encouraged me to get on it. And she said, I've lost 65 pounds and I'm about to run my first marathon ever next month. And I was like, well, that's awesome. That's the importance behind, being real and authentic and true with yourself and true with everyone else. Because results like that happen,
Yeah, because I didn't even know about those with Ozempic. Like you just hear about it, and like equated it to like when you would get like the stomach surgery and how it was 3 months you dropped like 150 pounds. But I was hearing like through the medical group like how it was helping with type 2 and it was helping with other ailments. And I was like, okay, well, I can see where it's like overall, but how society is like with the movie stars who are like, well, I lost this much. And I have to tell people, well, they have also a personal trainer. I'm sure they were on the cusp of being overweight. And they also have a personal chef. So they have so much going on, and it's not realistic to drop that much weight. And where is your mindset then? Because with me, with like overeating or things like that, if I just took a quick pill or like an injection, then I'd be like, okay, every single time I gain 50 pounds, I'll just take an injection. So to see like your mindset with it and to be open about it with that way, to be like, hey, this is actually a journey and there is a stopping point with it compared to, oh, well, it's just like we said, a quick fix and I can just get it every time for a quick fix. So it is nice to hear that.
Yeah, it's definitely, it doesn't work like that. It's definitely one that you have to put in the work, like that lady that came up to me. I mean, she's obviously been running so much that she's about to run a marathon. Right. So it's not, it's not like you just do this medication, whatever, and then not do anything. And there's people that look at it that way and then they go, oh, I didn't have a good experience with Ozempic. Like, yeah, because you didn't change anything about your diet and exercise routine. Like that has to be, see, I was already doing the diet and exercise whenever I came into it. Like I'd already started working on that. So it's like, it was very slow going, but I was already going to the gym. I was already trying to eat better. I was already trying to do these things. So like when I started with Ozempic and testosterone stuff, that only facilitated and fueled what I was already doing in the gym.
Yeah.
And it made it to where I could turn that up. So it's like the more you work on the exercise and the diet part, even with stuff like Ozempic or whatever, that's how you're going to have the better results. It always starts with having, diet and exercise routine down.
Yeah. Yep, like you said, you can't cheat that. That's like the basis of it all right there.
Yeah, that's right.
To go on a lighter note, because I know that we've been really harping on the comedic thing. Who is your favorite comedian or comedians?
I'm a big fan of Shane Gillis right now. Love Shane Gillis. I think he's one of the funniest. I always like Nate Bargatze too. He's actually here in Nashville. He's hilarious to me. Of course, Theo Vaughn's great. He's also based out of Nashville, so that's cool. And I got to meet Theo Vaughn at Something with Chubby's last year.
That's cool.
So that was cool. But yeah, I would say Shane Gillis right now is number one for me.
Nice.
That's
what
good.
about y'all? Why don't y'all give me y'all's comedian?
Oh man, the pressure's on.
I'm very generic. I love Jeff Dunham. Like, absolutely love him. Been to
there you go. He does the
puppets. Yeah.
The puppets. Yeah.
Well, what's his name? Sebastian? Is it Maniscalco? I can't say the last name.
Yeah, that's right. Maniscalco or something.
I love him too. He's really good. Yeah.
He's funny. Yeah.
I love also, I love Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Yeah, the height thing, because I'm just like
the height thing. Yeah.
Like, he's great. Yeah, he's hilarious.
Two tall people get in front of me, and I'm like, wow, I just disappeared.
Yeah, Kevin Hart's what, 5'5", 5'4", 5, something like that.
Oh man,
he's part of the crew, man. He's part of the crew.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we like Rebecca Fusile's work too. Like we always follow her work as well. Yeah, I think she's one of the top creators there too.
Oh yeah, she's hilarious.
Yeah, she's
for being a top athlete too. Like she's, for having her skill level in CrossFit and doing the comedy stuff that she does, she's pretty funny. Yeah, she's got her expressions, her facial expressions are just funny.
Kind of on that note, like, what is it like being a part of that culture? Because obviously you have a lot of people that are in the, in content creation, like Ali Loves Lifting. We've talked about Roderick. We've talked about Becca. But you obviously get the opportunity to work with these people. But what is that like? What is that culture and environment like?
Oh, it's been great for me. It's I was telling someone not long ago that I'm surprised at how many like really truly just good friends and good people I've met through doing social media stuff, because I kind of thought it would be a little bit the other way, where you just meet people and then in real life they're jerks or they're not, who they appear to be or whatever. And I'm sure there's plenty of that out there. But for me, in my experience, it's been nothing but good. I've met a lot of really good friends through that, through this world. I mean, Roderick's one of them. Buttery Bros have become really close friends. They're great. All these Eric Hinman, all these different people that you see online have really become good friends. And a lot of the companies that I've worked with, all right, SmartGear, I mean, that whole crew there they're becoming my best friends, like Dave Newman and his wife Sue that own it, Crystal that runs the brand partnering stuff there. They're just all have become really close with them. We're actually doing something cool in February. We're doing this jump rope challenge. So I've done a couple fitness challenges. Well, I've done one fitness challenge that was in November that I think we had 30 or 40 people sign up and do. It was great. We had a bunch of grand prizes out there for people. I think like $5,000 to $6,000 worth of stuff, from like a new ice barrel 500, jump rope smart gear, bags from K&KG, King Kong, all these different, brands donated stuff for gift for first place. And it wasn't about like who completed it, fast, whatever. It was just a walking challenge where we just walked more every day. But it was just randomly, picked just for signing up and completing the challenge, randomly picked, get, first place gets our grand prize winner gets all that stuff. So we're doing something similar for February, but it's jump ropes only. So we're going to do like a jump rope challenge with our SmartGear. I think it's going to be like 30 days, like a month long. I don't know exactly what but we're going to incorporate the jump rope into, a little workout routine that they do every day. And they're making a fit to serve jump rope out of it.
Nice.
So we'll have own little fit to serve jump rope out there. So yeah, it'll be really, really cool. But it's just allowed me to meet all these great people that genuinely care and that, have been there since day one, since before had lost any weight. That it wasn't about losing weight. It wasn't about anything like that. They just wanted to work with me. And it's been great,
Yeah, I will say RX SmartGear, like they're the most nicest, genuinely nice people I've ever met. Out here, he had family or something in Golden Valley, so he actually dropped in at Cayman CrossFit a couple times, and he actually took all the coaches and was like, "Let's just do a free jumping seminar really quick, and this is an introduction if we do one here." And he was just like, literally for an hour, like he came to work out, and he's like, "No, I'll help too. Like I want to help you guys to really see how you guys can coach and how your double unders and things like that." And he was just like, he came back before he left, like the next day, and he just like worked out. But they also just like talked, and it was just like the nicest people. Because it is, I'm always like, what if they stop by and they're mean, or like, we like do? And I was like, what if we do this and they're not nice?
Yeah.
And it's nice to just like be like, oh no, this community is like built with very genuinely real nice people. So they were, when they came, I was like, wow, they're really super nice.
Yeah, they're great. Dave will teach jump rope all day long to people.
Yeah,
he is fantastic. Yeah.
Did you get to decide your colors yet on what your rope's gonna look like?
Yeah, I did. So I'm going with the sea green, kind of the aqua, that I use a lot in my Fit2Serve logo. It'll be that color and black and aqua. And then they've got like my little logo, which is my face with the mustache and everything.
I kind of like those
sunglasses. It's going to be on the handles and stuff. So it'll have
nice.
Yeah, it's going to be sick. Yeah, it's going to be sick.
You've gone legit when they do an RX rope for you.
I know, right?
That's awesome.
It's going to be dope. I'm excited about it.
I'm excited for you. All of these things that are happening for you this upcoming year sound absolutely amazing. And it's great to see you kind of flourish, and not just being a content creator, but also now you're involving yourself, and now the fans are growing. And again, it's just relaying that message to a wider spread of people. Again, is very telling of just how hard you work, but also all of the things that you want to do with it. So that's amazing.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
What is your favorite CrossFit move and what is not?
Yeah.
Ooh, dang. That's a good one. Favorite CrossFit move. I really like wall balls. I really like wall balls. It's one that when I see it, I'm not intimidated by it. Mm-hmm. I've gotten better at it. And it's one that kind of pushes me enough to, feel like I'm really getting after it, really working hard. So I really actually like wall balls. I hate, of course, burpees. Obviously, everybody hates burpees. And I'm trying to get better at, my goal, I think, for 2025 is to do at least one muscle up, ring muscle up, bar muscle up, whatever. To do a muscle up. So right now, that's going to be the one I hate the most.
Yeah,
because I want to successfully do, and then I think I'll be able to get it in 2025. I think so.
Yeah,
I feel good about it. I feel good about it. As I continue to lose weight, I have about 25 more pounds that I want to lose to reach my target weight. I get there, I know that I'm going to be light enough, strong enough to do it. It'll just be, and I've had the opportunity to have the best instruction in the world on it because I go to that Power Monkey camp a couple times a year, which is awesome. And it's taught by Olympic gymnasts. And, they had someone that was in Cirque du Soleil do the ring classes the first time I went to Power Monkey. So,
oh, wow.
So that's cool because it's being taught by gymnasts. So then you can have like all of the, what your body should be hitting. What we call like the CrossFit lifting or the CrossFit doing. Sometimes we miss those keys. Mm-hmm. That's when people are like, oh, I got injured. And I'm like, no, we missed spots.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Just to do it.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Have y'all ever been to Power Monkey or heard of it or done it?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it?
No, I'm
my gosh.
fun thing.
Y'all would love it. this would be right up your alley. You need to look and see. Y'all need to try to go to one. So it's it's basically adult camp, adult CrossFit camp.
Ooh.
All right. It's awesome. You're there for, Sunday to Saturday.
Okay.
The camp is extremely nice. It's here in Tennessee. It's in
we're going, Blake.
Crossville, Tennessee. And it's right next to Cookville, which is where Mayhem is at. So one of the days you actually go to Mayhem. Everybody gets on the bus and you go through your own workout with the people at Mayhem. So
nice.
It's really, really cool. But you're there. The camp is owned by 2 former Olympians. One was an Olympic weightlifter, and one was an Olympic gymnast during the Beijing, China Olympics.
Wow.
His name is Dave Durante. And him and Dave Newman, that owns SmartGear, are really, really good friends. Dave Newman's been going since the very first one. I think they're on 21 or 22 now. I think this next one will be the 22nd Power Monkey Camp. And usually they take like 50 people, and you go through stations. You get put into a group and you go around to different stations each day where you learn. They had an Olympic rower teach the row. They have all these Olympic lifters teaching the powerlifting stuff. They have Dave Durante teaching handstands. They have, they break every movement down basically and give you the best people in the world to teach it to you. So, and then at night, it's so fun. The food's really good. They have a chef there from, I forgot the name of the food place, but it's somewhere out of California. She cooks all this nice, organic, really good food. They have things at night, like speakers that speak on these topics at night. They have a big party at the end. They have these campfire talks where everybody sits around and drinks beer and does these little campfire talks. That's
amazing.
A really, really good time. And usually, so I get invited now to just go whenever. And the first time I was invited, I was like guest, and they assigned me to a group, and I went through, and I was like starting to lose weight, but not. I was still probably 90 pounds, overweight, so I was still real bad overweight. And then the next time I went, I was about 50 pounds overweight. And so this next time I want to go and be, right at the weight that I want to be at, and really give it a go, because it's hard, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've been wanting like a cruise or CrossFit cruise or like a CrossFit summer camp.
Do it.
And I'm like,
you would love it.
I'm like, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I was sold a beer. When he said beer, I was like, oh, there it is.
Oh, yeah, there's beers by the fire. There's beers by the fire.
I know, I was waiting for it. I was like, please tell me there's some kind of beer drinking.
Oh, yeah. And the last day they party. Like they have a big, usually there's some kind of dress up, open bar. Everyone, they party hard the last day.
I love it.
It is a ton of fun. I'm hoping to go to the spring one. So the next one will be spring again. Yeah. And I think they have it like in March or April.
All right.
So
yeah, because they have a spring and a fall. And I was just
they do spring and fall. Yeah.
There you go. Well, he's going in the spring, so we might have to look into those.
Yeah, go. Y'all go. That'd be awesome.
No, I appreciate it.
And then the last question that we usually end with is,
if you can tell Evan, like just beginning his journey, if you were to go back in time and tell Evan and give him advice on the start of his journey, like what would be that piece of advice you would give him?
Ooh. I think that the piece of advice I would give him, like just starting the journey, just getting going, to not limit myself with expectations. So like I'm real bad about just assuming outcomes. I can just assume outcomes really bad. And what I mean by that is like, I'll just assume that this is going to lead to this, or I'll just assume that, I can only do this influencing thing. Like I've got to do something else. I've got to find what else am I going to do? There's, no opportunity is going to come from this. Well, I'm way wrong about that, right? Like all these crazy opportunities have come. So I just don't want to, assume expectations are going to happen. Like, I don't want to limit my expectations on scenarios. I want to be open to everything and take it one day at a time.
Really quick, and I'll probably edit this out, but how old are you, Evan?
30, I just turned 39.
I think like with that was instilled in us as growing up, because I do the same thing where I have those outcomes and I'm like, oh, I already see it playing out and it's not playing out well. And I don't know if that was something like with how our parents were or like growing up. Like, I've met so many people in their mid to late 30s who think like that. And they're like, wow, like why do we think like that? And I was like, it has to be something that we like grew up or like what we saw or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cause I do the same thing. And Joycey's like, she's more of rainbows and butterflies with stuff. I'm like, no, it's horrible. I already see it. She's like, no, it'll be fine. And I'm like, wow, it is. Why did I do that?
Nice. Yeah, that's true. It's so easy to do. I think I get that a lot from my mom. She's kind of the same way. You know, she also gets real anxious about things. I get real anxious about things. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's a generational thing, kind of how we were raised. And also remember how everybody used to think or tell you like you have to go to college or you won't.
Right.
You won't succeed at all. Like you have to go to college. You know, I remember my parents were all like that. You know, I think every one of my family members have graduated from college too, except for me. You know, it's like go to college or you're not going to have a good job. You're not going to make any money. You're not going to do this. And it's like, well, it's just BS, you know.
The facade, man.
Yeah. My mom.
The government wanting to force you to get into student loan debt.
Don't let the man get you down.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, this has been really, really eye-opening. I loved the conversation and everything. And just thank you so much for meeting with us.
Yeah, heck yeah.
But I know you got a lot of things going on.
Yeah. Well, you know, we all do, I'm sure. So yeah, no, I've enjoyed it. Thank you for having me on.
That was a lot of fun. Again, I'm just so grateful that he had some time to pretty much sit down with us and share a little bit about his story.
Right. I feel so thankful for a lot of these influencers, even the affiliates that allow us the time to come out or to speak with us because they don't have to.
And the vulnerability too. I mean, some of the topics we talk about. And again, Evan, we're first off, you know, very grateful for your service, but also just speaking to a lot of the issues that are, you know, difficult to talk about, especially when it comes to, you know, journeys about losing weight or journeys about like getting to know your body, things like that. It's always a difficult thing to talk about. And I think part of our podcast is being able to embrace that and talk about the difficult topics and being more comfortable with the uncomfortable. And we're just so grateful that we have people on who are open to being vulnerable.
Yeah. And I'm really excited. I hope Netflix picks up that hobby horsing thing.
We're looking forward to that. Yeah. I would love to see that. And I know he's going to kill it and do an amazing job. So
yeah. But if you guys haven't seen him or anything, go to fit2serve. He is on Instagram at fit2serve. He is also, I've seen him on TikTok at the same thing, or you could look him up at Evan Slaughter. But it was just nice to sit down with him, have some laughs, knows what helps him through the day, how he gets in with these brands, things like that. It's just awesome.
So thank you, Evan, again for your time, and let us know, listeners. And again, if you have not yet started following him on Instagram, you should. Please go ahead and look him up at fit2serve. And again, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening, and let others know, you know, about Evan. He's an amazing asset to the community, and we're so grateful to have him.
Yeah. And if you feel like this podcast is your swig of pre-workout, please follow. Please subscribe because we are on YouTube. Hit those 5 stars for our Spotify star top rate. You can also leave a review on Apple Podcasts, which we can shout out and read. You can leave comments on Spotify creators. There's so many ways to get a hold of us, especially DMing us on Instagram at Savagely Skilled or leaving us an email at savagelyscaled1, the number 1, at gmail.com. Feel free to just let us know if there's any topics, anything that's going on at your gym that you feel uncomfortable talking about, that we would be like, hey, we'll talk about that. Definitely let us know. But other than that, don't be a Karen.
Be a Sharon.
And keep sharing.
That's right.
Until we meet at the whiteboard again.
Bye.
Bye.